Ladies and gentlemen, imagine the first light of dawn, soft, unassuming, yet inevitable. It does not arrive with thunder, nor does it demand our applause. It simply is, quietly persistent, radiant in its constancy. In this, we find a most noble metaphor for love, love like morning light. Love is not something we summon at will. It is not a tool to be crafted or a reward to be earned. Like the morning light that graces the sky each day, love arises in accordance with nature. It follows no command, no demand. The Stoics, ever observant of the natural world and its order, taught us that the most powerful forces are not the ones we control, but the ones we learn to live in harmony with. The morning light does not check our calendars before it ascends. It appears when it is time, on its own schedule, faithful to a rhythm we did not set. Love, too, appears when it is ready. It may enter in the form of a glance, a shared silence, a moment of recognition between two souls. It cannot be rushed or manufactured, and just like the light of dawn, it arrives quietly. It does not shout to announce itself. It simply begins. Many struggle with the idea that love is not entirely in our hands. We are conditioned to think of love as a pursuit, a goal, something to chase. We hear phrases like win their heart or make someone fall in love, as though love were a prize to be claimed. But this is not love in its highest form. It is attachment cloaked in romantic ambition. The Stoics remind us, what is beyond our control is not to be grasped at, but accepted. Love, like light, has its source beyond us. We are not its masters, we are its witnesses, and in this realization lies great peace. When we understand that love is governed by the same natural laws that bring the tides, the seasons, and the sunrise, we stop fighting against it. We stop asking, why hasn't it come yet? Or why has it left me? Instead, we begin to ask, how can I be ready to receive it when it arrives? And how can I remain grounded if it departs? This perspective softens the anxious heart. It does not numb it, rather it frees it, for the Stoic does not suppress love. He honors it, but he does not cling to it like a desperate sailor to a broken mast. He walks beside love, grateful for its presence, calm in its absence, and content in its return. There is also a lesson in humility here. Just as the dawn breaks whether or not we acknowledge it, love often begins in others before it ever reaches us. To love someone is not to cause their feelings, it is to be in harmony with their nature. When we love as nature loves, without possession, without pride, we begin to understand that the essence of love is not control, but alignment. Alignment of values, of virtues, of souls striving toward the good. And just as the morning light does not discriminate between mountaintop and valley, love, when it is true, does not ask us to prove our worth. It finds us where we are, and if we are wise, we meet it with openness, not expectation. To love in this way is to surrender the ego's demands. It is to recognize that the beauty of love lies in its spontaneity, its effortless unfolding. We do not own the dawn, we bask in it, and so too, we do not own love. We experience it, we reflect its warmth, and we let it move through us as the sun moves across the sky. Gently, faithfully, without command. This is not passivity, it is harmony, it is wisdom, it is love like morning light. True love, much like the morning light, is a force of nature that does not thrive on intensity alone, but on constancy. We often mistake passion for love, confusing a fleeting surge of emotion with something deeper, steadier, and more enduring. The Stoics, however, recognize that real strength is not found in the rush of the moment, but in the slow and steady consistency of virtuous actions. They teach us that love, when it is most true, is not a flash of brilliance, but a gentle light that rises and remains, its warmth enveloping us gradually over time rather than burning us out in a sudden flare. Consider the morning light again. It does not appear as an explosion, nor does it demand our immediate attention. It arrives in quiet phases, first the dim, uncertain glow of twilight, then the soft illumination as the sun rises higher, spreading its rays more widely until the world is bathed in full light. This gradual unfolding is a metaphor for the kind of love the Stoics encourage us to nurture. It is not a love that seeks immediate satisfaction, but a love that is patient, present, and steady in its expression. This kind of love asks us to move beyond the realm of fleeting passions and to cultivate a love that persists through trials, through silence, through everyday moments. In this way, love becomes a steady flame, a fire that burns not brightly, but enduringly. It is not the kind of love that demands all at once, nor the kind that burns out quickly. Instead, it is the kind that grows slowly, like a garden nurtured with care. The longer it is tended, the deeper its roots grow, and the more it sustains us in return. The Stoic view of love teaches us that to truly love another is to be committed to their well-being, not in the bursts of emotion that come and go, but in the slow, deliberate actions that reflect a deeper understanding of who they are and who we are together. It is about standing beside someone not just when the passion is strong, but when the routine of life takes over and passion has given way to companionship. In these moments, the light of love does not diminish, it deepens. We must also recognize that love, like the morning light, is not selfish in its nature. It does not demand to be the brightest star in the sky at all times, nor does it require constant adoration. The beauty of the dawn is that it comes without asking for anything in return. It is simply given freely, and the world is all the better for it. Similarly, a Stoic love is not one that demands continual attention or validation, but one that is given freely, without expectations, and without need for external reward. Love, in its most virtuous form, is also a love of virtue itself. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the highest good lies in living virtuously, and the same applies to love. To love like the morning light is to love without attachment to the transient or the superficial, but to love the person for who they are, for their virtues, for their growth. It is to love their potential, not merely their present form. Just as the morning light transforms the world gradually over time, so does love, when it is rooted in virtue, transform us and those around us. It invites us to grow together, to rise together, to become better versions of ourselves, not in the pursuit of fleeting passion, but in the cultivation of mutual respect, kindness, and understanding. This steady, enduring love may not always seem as dramatic or thrilling as the passions we are often told to chase, but it is, in many ways, more profound, more sustainable, and more beautiful because it is not driven by momentary impulses. It is rooted in the belief that love, like the sun, is always there even if it sometimes hides behind clouds or is obscured by the passage of time. And when we love in this way, we are not chasing a fleeting high, we are embracing a lifelong journey of growth, togetherness, and tranquility. In this way, Stoic love becomes a testament to the power of steadiness, the power of the morning light that, no matter the circumstances, always rises again. Love, when viewed through the lens of Stoic philosophy, becomes an exercise in detachment, not indifference. Detachment, as the Stoics understand it, is not the absence of feeling, but the wisdom to maintain a clear mind, free from the overwhelming influence of unchecked emotions. To love in this way is to appreciate deeply and to cherish without clinging, to admire without possessiveness. It is to experience the beauty of love without the anxiety that comes from trying to control or hold on to it. Much like the morning light that gently caresses the earth, love, when approached with Stoic detachment, does not demand to be captured, but rather is appreciated for what it is in each moment. One of the most difficult lessons we must learn in life is to love without trying to possess, to care without suffocating, and to give without expectation of return. The Stoics teach that attachment to outcomes, whether in love or in life, leads to suffering, for we cannot control the course of events. Just as we cannot command the sunrise to come earlier, we cannot force someone's affection or demand that love remain when circumstances change. What we can do, however, is offer love freely, without condition, and embrace it in its natural, impermanent form. Detachment in love does not mean withdrawing emotionally or avoiding vulnerability. Quite the opposite, it requires an openness to experience love fully, without the anxiety of grasping onto it tightly. It is the ability to give oneself fully, to share in the joy and beauty of love, but without the fear of losing it. In this way, love becomes an act of courage, an acknowledgement that all things in life are transient, but that this impermanence does not diminish the worth of the experience itself. The morning light does not last forever, and yet its fleeting presence is what makes it so beautiful. We do not mourn the sunset because we know it is a natural part of the cycle. Similarly, we must learn to love without fearing the end of that love, understanding that it is part of the flow of life. When we attach ourselves too deeply to the idea of possession, we forget the true essence of love, to wish the best for another, regardless of what we receive in return. The Stoic loves not because of what they can gain, but because it is right to wish happiness and well-being for another. This is the foundation of true love, free of ego, free of need. It is love in its purest form, an unconditional gift. Just as we do not demand that the morning light shine only for us, we must learn to love without trying to demand that others remain in our lives on our terms. We cannot dictate when love will arrive, nor can we force it to stay. But we can welcome it with open arms, and we can release it gracefully when it is time for it to leave. The beauty of Stoic detachment in love is that it allows us to experience love in its fullness, without being crushed by the weight of expectations. It gives us the freedom to love without fear, to love with gratitude for the moments we share, without the pressure of possession. Love becomes something that enhances our lives, not something that defines our happiness. It frees us from the anxiety of what might happen tomorrow and allows us to be fully present today. Ultimately, to love with detachment is not to withhold our hearts, but to expand them. It is to open ourselves to the possibility of love without the chains of attachment. Just as the morning light does not ask for our permission to shine, love, in its truest form, is a gift we receive gratefully and without expectation. It may stay or it may go, but the experience of love itself, unencumbered by possessiveness, remains a source of deep fulfillment, one that brings peace to our hearts no matter its duration. In this way, love, when approached with Stoic detachment, becomes a source of strength, not weakness. It allows us to love freely, without fear, and to accept the natural ebb and flow of life and relationships. And in this freedom we find true joy. In the Stoic tradition, love is not viewed merely as an emotion to be felt or a desire to be fulfilled. It is seen as a virtue, an act of will and a conscious choice rooted in wisdom, reason, and a desire for the well-being of others. The Stoics teach that love is not about the fleeting passions of the heart, but about acting in accordance with nature and reason. It is about choosing to seek the good for another, not because they provide us with pleasure or joy, but because it is virtuous to do so. This perspective on love challenges the common understanding of it as a mere emotional response to another person's presence or actions. Love, in the Stoic sense, is not based on how we feel about someone, but rather on how we choose to regard and treat them. we are not swept away by uncontrolled emotions, but rather we love as a conscious decision to align with the principles of virtue and goodness. The Stoics would argue that love, when guided by reason, is an active force that fosters human flourishing, not an unpredictable surge of feelings that we have little control over. True love in the Stoic world view is not dependent on external circumstances or how the other person behaves. It is rooted in an inner commitment to the values of justice, kindness, and goodwill. It is the choice to act in the best interests of others, to offer compassion, understanding, and respect. In a Stoic sense, love becomes an expression of our highest virtues, not just a response to what we receive from another person. For the Stoic, love is an extension of the desire for eudaimonia human flourishing. To love someone in the Stoic sense is to wish for their happiness, growth, and fulfillment. It is to desire their well-being, not because we seek anything in return, but because we recognize that their happiness is intertwined with the greater good of the world. The Stoics' love is a rational love, a love rooted in a desire for the virtuous development of the other person. This is a love that seeks to help others become their best selves, regardless of whether it brings us personal satisfaction or pleasure. When we love in this way, our relationships are not based on what we can take from them, but on what we can give. The Stoic sees love as an opportunity to practice virtue, to become a better person by contributing to the flourishing of others. This love asks us to rise above our own selfish desires and to engage in selfless actions, motivated not by the wish to receive love in return, but by the desire to act in accordance with virtue and reason. This vision of love as a virtue challenges the popular notion of romantic love as something to be pursued for personal gain or as an emotional attachment that fulfills us. The Stoics' love is not about seeking personal happiness through the affection of another person. Rather, it is about seeking the greater good for both parties, fostering mutual respect, understanding, and growth. In this way, love is not something that is contingent upon the actions or emotions of another person, but something that is grounded in the commitment to living virtuously and making choices that align with the greater good. When we approach love as a virtue, we find that it is not something fragile, easily destroyed by temporary setbacks or misunderstandings. Instead, love becomes a steadfast and enduring force, one that persists regardless of external circumstances. This love does not demand perfection or flawless behavior from others. Rather, it accepts others as they are, while also encouraging them to grow and improve. It is a love that is patient and long-suffering, understanding that true growth and virtue take time and effort. In this way, love as a virtue is both empowering and freeing. It allows us to love not because we need something from another person, but because we recognize that love is an expression of our highest self, our deepest desire to live in accordance with nature and reason. It teaches us to love freely, without fear of loss or disappointment, because our love is grounded in something far more enduring than temporary emotions. It is rooted in our commitment to virtue, to the good of others, and to the flourishing of the human soul. The Stoic approach to love teaches us the profound power of being present in the moment. Just as the morning light gradually illuminates the world, inviting us to awaken and experience the new day, love, when guided by Stoic wisdom, encourages us to be fully attentive to the present, to appreciate what is right before us, without distraction or longing for what may come in the future. Stoicism emphasizes that life in all its forms is fleeting, and that to be truly alive, we must immerse ourselves in the present moment, without being overwhelmed by past regrets or future anxieties. Love, in this sense, is no different. To love like morning light is to love with full presence, to engage with the one we care for without the distortion of distractions, expectations, or fears about what may or may not happen. In our modern world, we are often pulled away from the present by the constant stream of thoughts, worries, and distractions. We either dwell on what has happened or obsess over what might happen next, forgetting to live fully in the here and now. Yet, the Stoics remind us that the only true moment we have is the present. Everything else is beyond our control, including how we feel about what has already occurred or what may happen in the future. By focusing our attention on the present, we free ourselves from unnecessary burdens and allow love to unfold naturally, just as the morning light naturally dispels the darkness without force or haste. Being present in love is an act of deep attentiveness and care. It requires us to give our undivided attention to the person we love, without letting the distractions of our own mind or the external noise of the world pull us away. This presence allows us to truly connect, not in the fantasy of what we hope the relationship will be, but in the reality of what it is at this moment. In this way, love becomes a practice of mindfulness, of truly seeing and understanding the person we care for. This attentiveness allows us to appreciate them fully, without the need to change or fix anything, but simply to enjoy and be grateful for their presence in our lives. The Stoic perspective on presence also teaches us that love, when rooted in wisdom, helps us detach from the anxieties of the future. We cannot predict what will happen tomorrow, and the future is uncertain and outside of our control. But when we focus on the present moment, we can savor the love we experience now without being burdened by fears of what may come. Just as the morning light is not concerned with how long it will shine, love that is grounded in the present does not fixate on what the future holds. It simply is, existing in the now, where it can be fully appreciated. Moreover, love in the present moment teaches us to be fully engaged with the world around us, not just with the person we love, but with all of life. The Stoics often speak of the importance of accepting the world as it is, of aligning our hearts and minds with nature, and embracing the reality before us. To love like the morning light is to accept the person we love as they are, not as we wish them to be. It is to be present with them in all their complexities, imperfections, and uniqueness, just as we embrace the world as it is without trying to control or manipulate it. When we approach love with this attitude, we are no longer seeking to escape the present moment in favor of an idealized future. Instead, we find joy in what is before us, appreciating the love we share for what it is, without the weight of expectation. This presence also extends to our own emotional experience. The Stoics understood that emotions are natural, but they are also transient. When we focus on the present moment, we are less likely to be swept away by the turbulence of emotional highs and lows. We experience love as it is, not as a fantasy or an expectation, but as a living, breathing experience in real time. This gives us the space to love more deeply, without fear or attachment, for we are not caught up in the need for things to unfold in a particular way. We can simply love in the moment, accepting that love's form may shift over time, but that it is no less valuable because of its impermanence. Thus, to love like the morning light is to love with clarity and mindfulness, to be fully present with the person we care for, and to embrace the love we share without being burdened by what came before or what might come after. It is a love that grows steadily, without pressure or hurry, existing in the present moment where all things, both joy and sorrow, are fully experienced and appreciated for what they are. Through this, love becomes a source of peace, wisdom, and contentment, grounded in the acceptance of the present moment and the natural flow of life. To love, as the Stoics would advise, is to recognize the natural order of things and to understand that love, much like all aspects of life, is not eternal in the same way we imagine it to be. The sun rises every day, yet it does not stay in one place forever. It moves across the sky and eventually sets. The same can be said of love. It may not remain forever in the form we initially experience it. Its shape may change over time, it may fade, or it may deepen. In understanding this impermanence, we are freed from the chains of attachment and possessiveness that often lead to suffering. The Stoic perspective teaches us that we must love with wisdom, accepting the natural ebb and flow of emotions and relationships. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is that we should not become overly attached to the things that are beyond our control. Just as we cannot command the sun to shine brighter or stop the day from turning into night, we cannot control the nature of love or predict how it will evolve. What we can control is our own response to the love we experience. The Stoics suggest that we must approach love with a sense of acceptance, acknowledging that all things in life are transient and that attachment to any one form of love will lead to unnecessary pain. Love, when understood through the Stoic lens, is a form of gratitude, a recognition that love, in whatever form it may take, is a gift in the present moment. It is not something we can force or cling to indefinitely. Just as the morning light illuminates the world for a brief moment each day, love too may shine brightly, but it cannot be expected to last in the same way forever. To love like the morning light is to acknowledge the beauty of love while it is present and to release it when it is time for it to fade or change. This release does not diminish the value of the experience, but rather enhances it, for it teaches us to embrace love without the fear of loss. The Stoic approach encourages us to find peace in the knowledge that nothing, not even love, is permanent in the way we may want it to be. This understanding brings a sense of liberation. When we accept the impermanence of love, we are no longer burdened by the need to control or preserve it. Instead, we can experience love fully in the present moment without fear or anxiety about what the future holds. We recognize that love's worth is not measured by how long it stays, but by how deeply we allow ourselves to experience it while it is here. In this way, love becomes something that is celebrated rather than clung to. It becomes a practice in letting go, understanding that true love is not about holding on tightly, but about allowing it to be what it is in its own time. The sun does not resist its setting, it simply moves along its course. Similarly, we must learn to let love move through us without forcing it to stay longer than it naturally does. By doing so, we can appreciate the love we have for what it is, rather than seeking to hold onto something that is not meant to be permanent. The Stoic perspective also teaches us that love should not be a source of anxiety or distress. When we let go of the expectation that love must last forever in the same form, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. We stop clinging to the illusion that we can control love, and instead, we allow ourselves to experience it as a part of the natural flow of life. This sense of acceptance can lead to a deeper, more fulfilling love, one that is not based on ownership or control, but on mutual respect and understanding. In this way, love, like the morning light, is seen as a beautiful and fleeting gift. Its impermanence does not lessen its value, but enhances it, as it teaches us to live fully in the present moment. By embracing love without the need to possess or control it, we experience its true essence and allow it to enrich our lives without the burden of expectation. Through this, we come to understand that love, in its most profound form, is not about permanence or attachment, but about appreciating what is here and now and letting it go with grace when it is time for it to move on. In conclusion, the Stoic philosophy teaches us that love, much like the morning light, is a force that should be embraced with wisdom, patience, and acceptance. It is not a fleeting emotion to be clung to with desperation, but a steady and enduring presence that unfolds gradually, inviting us to experience its beauty in the present moment. By understanding that love, like all things, is impermanent, we free ourselves from the anxiety of attachment and control, allowing love to flow naturally and effortlessly. Through the practice of virtue, presence, and detachment, we learn to love not for what we can gain, but for the pure joy of giving, of supporting, and of growing alongside another. In loving like the morning light, we come to realize that true love is not about possession, but about appreciating the gift of the moment and accepting the natural rhythm of life. It is in this understanding, this peace with impermanence, that we find the deepest fulfillment in love. And just as the morning light rises and sets each day, we are reminded that love too can rise again, each day anew, bringing warmth and clarity to our hearts and lives.